Mabuhay! Good day to all! I am your tutor Madge. Welcome to ETULay, a free online tutorial, an initiative of the Department of Education, Information and Communications Technology Service, Educational Technology Unit, ICTS EdTech. This program is aimed at helping and assisting learners from kindergarten, senior high school, ALS, Alive and SPED learners. Aside from answering the modules, the ETULay is offering programs which you will surely look forward to. Together with our parents and teachers, the ETULay will bridge the gaps where difficulty and ease meet in learning new knowledge and skills. So, let us prepare our modules, pen and paper. Ready your mind to see and hear worthwhile and interesting lessons. Let's now study and learn, together with our volunteer online tutors. Tara na!
Hello, good day everyone! Shout out po to all our viewers, teachers, learners from Quezon City, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Welcome po to our ETUlay online tutorials. I'm your tutor, Tutor Joyce. Join me today as we journey and have a fun learning the 21st ending. So are you ready, guys? Let us have a recap for our previous session. Okay, so let us all, okay, can I hear from a live stream? Yes, comments on our sections. And yes, comment po. The following, so let us check and let us answer. Just click on the comment section if you want to answer. Okay, let us, let's start. Yes, we have number 1. The following are reasons why we should learn our country's literature except letter A, to call our forefathers for our literary limitations. Letter B, to take pride in being a Filipino. Letter C, to trace our rich heritage of ideas and culture passed down to us. And letter D, to understand our traditions better. So ano kaya ang sagot natin? Ayan, sa ating comment section. Ayan, so shout out tayo kay Joseph Conrad Bulaklak. Good afternoon, watching from Pasay City, North High School, grade 12 ICT. Hello, Joseph. Ayan, yes. And the correct answer is, letter A. To call out our forefathers for our literary limitations. Okay, number 2. Let's try number 2 this time. Well, number 2, we have which of the following sequence best portray the basic timeline of periods of Philippine literature? Ano kaya? So let us have letter A. Ayan, sumasagot na si Jean Tayong. Okay, tingnan natin, Jean. Okay, so we have here letter A, American regime, contemporary period, Japanese colonial period, pre-colonial, Spanish colonial period. Letter B, pre-colonial period, Spanish colonial period, American regime, and Japanese colonial period and contemporary period. Letter C, is it pre-colonial period, Spanish colonial period, Japanese or American? Or letter D, Spanish colonial period, American regime, pre-colonial period, Japanese period, and contemporary period? Well, let us see. Ayan po. Good afternoon po. This is Ma'am Jean from West. Ayan po, si Ma'am Jean pala ito from Pangulo National High School. Hello po, Ma'am. And the correct answer is, i-reveal na natin, letter B. Okay, so okay lang po yun. No? Letter B ang ating sagot. Number 3, let's try again for number 3. This is known as the first Filipino nationalist movement led by our Filipino heroes through dissemination of books, leaflets, and newspaper articles for political reform. So ano kaya ito? Letter A, the Gabrielas Women's Party. Letter B, the National Commission for Culture and Arts. Ayan, may mga sumasagot na din. Letter C, it is the Order of National Artists of the Philippines. Or letter D, the Propaganda Movement. Ayan, tingnan natin. May mga sagot tayo sa ating comment section. We have Jean tayong answered letter B and Joseph Conrad letter B. Let us try to reveal the answer. Well, the correct answer is letter D. Ayan, letter D, the propaganda movement. Okay. Number 4. These are the invaders, knights, soldiers, thieves, explorers, and the Spanish for Portuguese Empires. Okay, looking for new territories and involved the search for spices and treasures among others. Ano kaya ito? Or sino-sino sila? Letter A, is it the conquistadores? Is it letter B, conquistadors? Letter C, the dictators? Or letter D, the merchant? Sino kaya? Ayan, meron tayong mga sagot dito sa ating comment section. We have letter D daw. Akala sabi ni Joseph. Okay, well, the correct answer is yun, letter A and B. Ayan, ang ating mga tamang sagot. Tamang sagot si Jean Tayong. Yan. Okay, ma'am, you're good. Correct. Ayan. Pero try pa rin tayo, no, Joseph? Okay, next, number 5. Ito na yung last. The following are truths about the Philippine literature in the Spanish colonial era, except letter A, realistic novels depicting the oppressions of Spanish colonizers were evident yet not so effective. Letter B, meron tayong religious themes dominated the culture of the Christianized majority in printing press. Okay, letter C, the Spanish colonial strategy was to undermine the oral traditions by substituting for it's the story of the Passion of Christ or mga sinakulo na tinatawag nila, no? Or and letter D, traditional Tagalog poetry was still prominent during this time in Francisco Baltazar, syempre, yung ating hero, no? A writer, known as the acknowledged master for his literary form. Ang sagot natin ay, ayan, may mga sagot tayo. Hello kay Peps Tobias. Ayun, sumagot si Peps Tobias. We have letter A daw ang kanyang sagot. Tingnan natin. Ayan, sumagot din si Joseph at saka si Ma'am Jean. Okay, let us see. Yes, the correct answer is letter A. So, tama, no? Tama si Pebs Tobias and of course si Joseph din. Tama, congratulations. Ang galing-galing ng ating mga online tutors at tuties, no? Okay, so moving on to our lesson 2, which is the lesson objective for this afternoon. It's the tracing the historical events and development of Philippine literature during the American regime, Japanese period, and contemporary period. Ayan. So, ayan. Okay, so to continue, actually during this time of American regime, way back in 1898 to 1944, ayan na yung influences ng mga Americans sa atin, the impact to us Filipinos, especially in writing using the English language. Ayan, so ginamitan na tayo ng English language, and this English language used in writings, the Spanish and the dialects natin is from the different regions. Yes, hindi natin makalimutan yung ating mga Thomasites. So these Thomasites actually, before sa Thomasites, the languages used in writing were Spanish and Tagalog, and the dialects of the different regions. Nabanggit ko na kanina, di ba? Pero itong mga Thomasites na to, sino ba itong mga Thomasites? Actually, these Thomasites are the group of 600 teachers, American teachers. Ito ha, okay. So, which traveled from the United States, and ito sila, no? Talagang they really teach these Filipinos, no? And they even introduced the school system. Yan. So meron tayong 346 na male teachers, and of course we have 180 women teachers. Ayan. Okay? So ano ba itong mga factors to consider during this American regime? Well, we can see the freedom of expression. Nandiyan ay lumabas yung freedom of expression, freedom of the press. Ayan, so establishment of Writers Guild or organizations. So giving of incentives to the form of awards or outstanding writers of different genres. Ayan. Okay? And of course, this prominent period that emerged, no, na na-emerge itong ating during the American periods. Ano ba ito? Okay, ayan. So, yung period of reorientation na tinatawag nila. Okay, way back in 1898 to 1910. So, ayan, we're in the English as the literary vehicle and the medium of instruction in the public school. So, yun, no? So, makita mo talaga doon pa lang, sa panahon pa lang ng mga Americans, no? Talagang English is really prominent in using or as the instruction of the medium of instruction in the public schools. Okay? And during this time, ayan na yung period of imitation way back in 1910. Yan, way back in 1910 to 1924. Ito naman yung the first Filipinos, no? Yes, ma'am? Aha. Okay, ayan. So, the UP College Folio published the literary compositions of the first Filipino writers of English. So, ayan na yung imitating American and British models. Yan. So, yung mga models natin, nandyan si Wordsworth, meron din andyan si Tennyson, Longfellow, Allan Poe. So, these and other American writers actually of the Romantic school. Yan. Including, ayan yung ating, the best, the best editorial writer of this period was Fernando Maramad. Ayan. Okay? Ito na rin yung ating, so another thing is we have the period of self-discovery and growth. Siguro, tinawag siya, in the sense na, kasi na-discover na dito yung ating sarili, as Filipinos. Wherein, by this time, Filipino writers had acquired the mastery of English. Ayan, nag-emerge din yung ating period of immersion. Nag-overlap na siya, no? Ayan, so yung period of self-discovery plus the period of immersion. Okay? Ayan, yung maturity and originality. Sabi ko nga kanina, they now confidently, the Filipino writers confidently and competently na wrote a lot of subject, though the old-time favorites, ayan, yung mga about love and youth persistent, and went in all forms of writing like yung mga novels and drama. Yes, ayan, the Master of English, ayan, na-enjoy nila, no? Ayun. Ayan, nandyan din yung influence na sa atin ng mga surrealism and existentialism event in some of the English fiction. Next. Ayan, ito ng ating mga magagaling, na two clashing schools of thoughts. Andyan sino kaya ito? Ayan, sige nga, tingnan natin sa ating comment section. Sino kaya itong fina-flash sa screen na tinatawag nating art for art's sake ng dictum? Anyone? Yes? Meron ba tayo dyan? Okay. Meron, siguro, try i-reveal ko na ha. Sige, sino siya? Si Jose Garcia Villa. Ayan. So, actually, this dictum na tinatawag nilang dictum, it's actually a formal pronouncement from the authoritative source. Ayan, a short statement that expresses a general truth of principle. Ayan. So, si Jose Garcia Villa, syempre, yun yung treats literary pieces as art objects, yan, subject to aesthetic appreciation. Ito namang isa, Ayan. No, na parang sila, na nagko-compete sila with clashing talaga sila, 'di ba? Ang tinatawag natin is, of course, andyan si art for society naman siya. Ng dictum is wherein tinatawag ng pieces of instrument to effort social change naman sa kanya. Okay? Thereby having social functions. Yan ay walang iba kundi sino kaya ito? Ayan, sa ating comment section. Ayan. Okay, siguro nagtatry pa. Ayun, tama si Joseph kanina, no? Si Jose Garcia Villa. And another one, yan ayan, nagsisimula do sa letter S. Ayan, si Salvador Lopez. Okay. Next. Well, ayan. So actually, the two controversies between the two schools, they continue over the years until the World War II broke out. Ayan. So now, ito na yung love for one's native tongue. Siyempre, yung pagmamahal natin, di ba? Gusto nating mahalin yung ating native tongue. Kaya lang, sad to say, nandyan yung ang mga nag-ibang nag-conquer sa ating sa ating bansa. Ayan. So that's why, let us see, no? Okay? Ayan, ang ating Japanese period. Pumasok na ngayon sa Japanese period. So, Japanese period in the Philippine literature, in English language, and the development of the English literature in general, ano nangyari? Was interrupted during the Japanese period. Bakit kaya? Alam niyo ba kung bakit? Well, the Japanese censored all publications. Ayan. Except yung Tribune, the Philippine Review. Ayan, pumasok na yung dark period, no? Kasi nga, these Japanese authorities with extreme hate to the Americans. Ayan. And they did their best to turn the Filipino sympathy away from them. Ayan. So they rewarded handsomely the Filipinos who are faithful to them. Imagine, no, kapag loyal ka sa mga Japanese, talagang bibigyan ka nila ng award or ng reward rather. Okay? So compare mo doon. Ayan. So makikita mo talaga, 'di ba? Okay? And the war years was 1942 to 1945. Yun yung Japanese period natin wherein the conquerors discouraged the use of English and moreover, the freedom of speech. Ayan, so nawala na dyan, ano? Okay, next. And ayan, so yung mga writers natin, ang mga concerns is more on survival. Ayan, so the war. Okay? And yun na nga, no? And this Nippongo, even the Japanese language, Nippongo was introduced during this time. Ayan, but not well embraced by the Filipinos, despite of being forceful taught by the Japanese. Ayan, so, and actually, ayan na, with the provisions of writings and publishing literary pieces of works in English language, yun na, the Philippine literature in English experienced a dark period. Ayun, yun na yung mga themes of brutalities, poverty, and the brave guerrillas exploits. Ayan, okay? Next. Okay. Ayan, no? So, survival natin, diba? Nakita natin dyan, no? Okay. Next. Yes? Okay, so, ayan po. Next, ma'am. Ayan. So, actually, ito na. Ito na yung mga introduce sa atin, no? The Japanese introduced during this time the famous haiku. Ayan. So, 'di ba? So, we have the syllables syllabic verses like 5, 7, 5, no? Wherein parang nandun lahat yung mga emotions, no, sa ating poem na yan na haiku. At meron din tayong kasama dyan, no? The similar also to haiku that in structure but differs in the letter, in rhyme, and rhymes, human nature, ayan, no? Yan yung tinatawag na, ayan, sanryu, okay, senryu. Mm-hmm. So these three types of poems emerged during this period. Ano ba yung mga poems na nag-emerge during this period? Ayan, yung tanaga, no? talagang kabisado niya na yan sa mga klase pa lang, di ba? Tanaga, okay, the 777 syllabic verse, wherein more on nature, ayan, no? More on the mountains, yun yung mga, yung mga theme talaga ng heart, about love, okay? And, yan, may karoon ng sadness and more deeper emotion, mga mixed emotion nandyan sa tinatawag nating tanaga. Okay? Ayun, syempre yung ating mga usual form o tinatawag nilang karaniwang anyo. Ayan. Okay? Yes? Ayan, and during this time, nasa napapansin natin, di ba, Filipinos really love to watch Filipino movies ng mga pelikula noon. But then again, the big movie houses were made to show stage closes kasi na-close na, no? Ayan, kinlose na nila. The Japanese actually parang nagkaroon na ng tawag na, talagang kinonquer na talagang ang Philippines na talagang even the movie houses they were closed, and this time the big movies were just made as show, stage show na lang siya na ginamit. Ayan, no? So many of the plays were reproduced of English plays to Tagalog, and the famous playwrights were their works where, ayan, sino ba yung mga sikat na mga playwrights natin? Ayan, si Francisco Shock Rodrigo, Sa Pula sa Puti, ayun, no? Mga, or Jose Maria Hernandez, yung tinatawag nilang Panday Pira. Ayan, okay? And during this time din pa rin sa mga Japanese, no? So, nandun na yung mga field of short stories, and among these were the famous writers. Sino ba yung mga iba pang mga famous writer? Nandyan na si N.V.M. Gonzalez, nandyan din po si Macario Pineda, no? And among others. Okay. Ayan. So, moving on to, yan, sa post-war and modern period. So, nandito na tayo sa post-war. So, natapos na yung war ng atin, ano? Ano na tayo? So, modern period na tayo. Ano kaya yung modern period? Ayan, ito na yung contemporary period. And at present, so from 1946 hanggang present, hanggang ngayon, no? So we have here the Rebirth of Freedom in 1946 to 1970, the period of activism in 1970 to 72. We also have the period of New Society, 1972 to 1981. And of course, the period of Third Republic in 1981 to 1985. Ayan. So, simulan natin sa Rebirth of Freedom. Ano bang meron dyan sa Rebirth of Freedom? Well, the Americans under MacArthur liberated the country. Ayan. So, si MacArthur, di ba, sikat na, I shall return. And the country granted the independence in way back in 1946. Ayan. So, started during the Rebirth of Freedom. Diyan natin nakikita. At diyan din, sa time na rin na ito, no, nandyan yung CHED. CHED mandated the teaching of Philippine Literature, ayan, in all tertiary schools in the country. And ayun na, kaya lang nag-struggle ang mind and spirits posted by the sudden emancipation from the enemy, no? Kumbaga, nandoon pa rin, no, kahit papano, and the desire to see the print, the wild desire to see print. Okay? Next. Ayan. Ayun, no, kanina, di ba? So, the rapid rise of journalistic writings, andyan na yung mga, ayan, appearance of new publication, especially after the martial law years. Ayan. Okay? Next. Ayan, yun, yung nabanggit ko kanina, no, yung CHED natin, no, siya talaga ang nag-mandate ng ating Philippine Literature for wherein the tertiary, all tertiary schools in the country emphasizing the teaching and of the vernacular literature of the regions. Ayan, so may mga subjects doon, yung religious, faith, later, no, magkakaroon tayo ng game dyan, okay? Okay, next, please. Ayan, yung fiction, nakasama din dito yung focus on courageous deeds and sacrifices, sufferings in the lives of the Filipinos. Ayan. Ayan, sabi ni Miss Ana Maria. Ayan, so Yan, nag-greet siya sa atin. Hello, ma'am. Hello po sa ating mga viewers this afternoon. Continue, okay, joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much. Eto na yung ating game this afternoon. Ready na ba? Ayan, game na ba kayo? Okay, guess the subject and the themes during the Rebirth of Freedom. Ano kaya yung mga subject and themes, no? Sige, start tayo. So, fiction subject and themes. Go. Ayan. Ano kaya ito? Please type your answers in our chat space. Ready po? Okay. Ayan, naantay natin yung mga sagot natin. Ayan, good morning po. Good afternoon po, Ma'am Logo Elizabeth. Okay, ano ang ating sagot? Yes. Raise hand po if you have questions. Ayan. Okay, so here, what i-reveal na siguro natin ang sagot, no? Ayan, the correct answer is ayun, religious faith. Ayan. Okay, good afternoon. So, religious faith po yung ating answers. Isa sa mga themes or subjects natin during that time. Another, we have, yes, sino kaya makakasagot sa ating comment section? Just type your answer if you want to answer. Ayan. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ayan, sumagot si Conrad Bulaklak. Ayan, ang sagot niya, religious faith, you're correct. Ayan. Okay, so another, we have superstitions. Yung mga paniniwala ng mga ninuno natin, di ba? Yun yung madalas na naging subject and themes during that time. Okay, next please. Ayan, next po. Ayan, tama si Joseph again. Thank you for participating, Joseph. Ayan, ito pa. Next, we have fiction subjects and themes. Ano kaya ito? Sige, try nating sagutan. Write your answer in our comment section. Okay. Ayan, so reveal na natin ang answer. The correct answer is, ayun, fantasy. Kaya pala may mga enchanted, parang enchanted kingdom dyan. Ano? Tsaka may mga balloons pa. Okay, so that is fantasy. More on fantasy. Ayan, next po. Yes, we have also. Okay. Yes, saying hi to Gwen Flores of San Francisco High School. Hello. Ayan, ang atin ay, please type your answers on our chat space. We have, reveal natin ang answer. Sige. Ayan, we have the social problems. Siyempre, isa rin yan sa maging themes natin or mga subjects natin dito during this time. Okay, another one, yes. Okay, sagutan na natin. Well, the correct answer is, ano kaya ito? Na flag ng Philippines? Yes, please. Aha, correct. Nationalism. Ayan, may sumagot sa atin. No? Nationalism daw. Correct. Yes, another please. Ito, ano kaya ito? Mukhang puzzle sa atin, ano? Okay. Ayan, sumagot din sa atin si Mary Abe. Okay, at saka si Joseph Uget. Social problems, kanina. Yan, fantasy. Morality, ayan, no? Isa sa mga subject and themes natin here in this particular period. Next, please. Ayan. How about this one? Ano kaya ito? Ito ba yung start sa letter P? Okay. Ayan, maraming sumagot ng nationalism kanina. Ito kaya yung letter P? Yes, ma'am, i-reveal na natin ang sagot. The correct answer is poverty. Ayan, okay. And next, please. Ayan, ito naman. Ano kaya ito? We have, ayan, politics, no? Kahit naman siguro ngayon, diba? Politics is still in at this time, diba? Okay, next, please. Ayan, nandun na tayo ngayon sa Rebuild or Rebirth of Freedom. I mean, way back in 1946 to 1970, ito nilatawag na Heart of the Islands. Ayan ay mga collections of poems by Manuel Viray. No, ito yung pinaka-highlights ng ating literature during this time. The Philippines cross-section, we have a collection of prose and poetry by Maximo Ramos and Florentino Valerio. We also have syempre, si Nick Joaquin ba naman? Makakalimutan ba natin si Nick Joaquin? Hindi syempre, no? So, ating prose and poems ang way back 1952. Okay? Next, please. Ayan, syempre, isa pa, no? Yung May Day Eve ni Nick Joaquin, isa sa mga sikat, no? Sikat na mga naging writings or naging nasulat ni Nick Joaquin during this time, and the short story about love in patriarchal society. Okay? Ayan, the use of magic realism is also applied here in this literary. Ayan, meron pa. Si Waywaya. Okay, so Waywaya ay, yes, by Shonil Jose, yung ating isa sa mga famous national artists also. Okay, wherein is about pre-Hispanic, okay, society and people's struggle for moral order. Next. O ano naman ito? So, well, we Filipinos, sinatawag nga nila na mild drinkers. Bakit ba tayo mild drinkers? Okay? Ayan, kasi nga, tayo nga, di ba, yung mga Pilipino, mahilig talaga tayong sa mga, kumaga, mga makasaya, masasaya, no? And then, this actually written by Alejandro Roses, where a short story focusing on the drinking habits and culture of Filipinos and Americans. Para bang, pagkatapos ng work, di ba, after work, parang, ano muna, relax muna, parang, inom muna tayo ng mga, kung anumang soft drinks or naman pwedeng mainom natin, di ba? Na parang, just to reward ourselves after a whole day work. Okay? Next. Ayan, ito pang isa, The Return. Sino bang sumulat nung The Return? Siyempre, ang ating isa sa mga sikat na national artist din, no? We have Edith L. Tiempo, no? Wherein this poem was actually talks about old age. Ayan yung ating mga senior citizens. So, lahat ng mga nanonood dyan, no? From Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, ng mga senior citizens, hello po. Hello po sa inyong lahat. And of course, the learners too. Ayan, napaka-active natin sa comment section. Hello, hello. O, nandyan si Bianca Jasmine Alzaga. Hello po sa iyo. From San Francisco High School. Yes. Marami tayo dito from Pangulo, National High School, Raymart Villanueva. Hello sa inyo. Ayan. Yes, next please. Ayan, dumako naman tayo sa ating period of activism. So, this time, no, during this time, period of activism, nandyan na yung Marcos was elected as the president. Kung naalala ninyo, no, so in our history before, okay? So, this political condition of the country in the 60s led to rise the student activism. Ayan na yung student activism, the vocal playwrights based on universities, plays in streets, no? Natatanda no pa yung mga strikes, yung mga protests. Ayan, so the bloody demonstrations and the sidewalk expressions. Ayan, during this time, ayan ang race of nationalism and student activism of the literary revolution. So yan, yung mga youth natin during this time, yun ang parang they are demanding already for a change of government. Okay, andyan na yun, no? And of course, the period of new society. Ito yung tinatawag natin. Ayan, so the become vocal. Ayan, so yan, yung society natin. So Marcos declares, martial law. Ito na yung tinatawag ng martial law way back in 1972. Okay, so the school newspapers were temporarily closed. Ayan na, no? Yung curtailment of human rights, including press freedom. Ayan, kasama na dyan. And the concept of a social transformation. Talaga namang nag-transform ang ating society during this time. Okay? Ayan. And in addition to, all schools, newspapers were temporarily stopped. Ayan, so napansin nyo, yung mga school papers na-stop yun. And so with school organizations, okay, the new society tried to stop pornography, and those writings giving bad influence on the morals of the Filipinos or the people. Yan. At kasama na din dito yung pag-introduce nila no ng mga award-winning bodies like Carlos Palanca Awardees, ayan no, yung mga continue to give annual awards, magazines and comics. Yan. So ayan na ipinakilala na rin diyan yung bilingual education which is initiated by the Board of National Education. Okay? Ayan. So this period, in addition to the old lays and dramas presented in the rebuild of Metropolitan Theater, yung folk arts theater, ayan na, naglalabasan na yung mga CCP, no? So, Cultural Center of the Philippines. Ayan. Ayan. And, ayan. So, yung mga Sarsuela, Sinakulo, ayan. Na Imbayoka of the Muslims. And, yes, ayun. So, yung radio and TV was already patronized, no? Hindi lang ito for kumbaga, hindi lang ito for entertainment, talagang pinapatronize na talaga nila during those times. Ayan, yung mga play series nila o si Martha, ayan, Ang Palad Ko and Mr. Lonely. O, di ba? Parang may kanta pa nga yung Lonely, oh Mr. Parang gano'n, di ba? And the Filipino film, syempre, yung ating mga Filipino films kasama dyan. And most of the themes and writings during this time ay ano mga ito mga to? Well, discipline, ayan, nandyan yung culture, tourism, and like we are favored more than a sensationalized reporting of killings, rapes, and robberies, diba? But of course, these poems dealt with patience. Ayan, nandyan pa rin yung mga poems natin regarding the native culture, okay, customs, beauties of nature, and surroundings. Siyempre, no? And mostly the development of progress in the country. Ngayon, kasama na doon. Ayan, papasok na tayo sa period of Third Republic. Ano naman itong Third Republic na ito? Well, after 10 years of military rule, ayan na. Martial rule was last lifted on January 2 in 1981, the new Republic of the Philippines. Okay? Ayan, eto na yung mga poetry. Ayan, no? So, during this Third Republic, andyan yung sa poetry, what are these themes that they initiated or kumbaga during this time, ano ba yung mga yun? So, meron tayong romantic and revolution poems, criticism, open criticism against the government. Kaya nga, parang nag-activist na sila, no? And of course, the songs that we have during this time. Ano ba yung mga songs during this time? Ayan, yung mga true to life themes, no? Grief, kasi poverty, aspirations, freedom of love for God and country and fellow men. Kasi nga, during this time, parang kung ano yung nasa paligid natin, di ba? Kung ano yung whatever it's surrounding us, yun yung nagiging theme ng songs natin during this time. Okay? And ayan, so people, sa mga films naman, sa mga pelikula natin, so people love for sex films, andyan na yun, no? Yung mga annual festival and Filipino films, di ba? Yung every, parang every December, nanonood kayo ng mga magagandang movies and then they have this competition or festival movies, right? Okay, next. And moving on to the next, the period of the Third Republic themes. Ano-ano bang mga themes naman ito? We have the grief. Ayun na nga, no? Yung grief natin, poverty, yan, aspiration for freedom, yan, love for God and country and fellow men. Next. And of course, yung ating contemporary period. So when say contemporary period, what are these periods? So please. Next, please. Ayan. So, yun. 1986 at present, no? Kasalukuyan. Tuloy-tuloy natin yan ang ating contemporary. Next. Ayan. Andyan na yung ating contemporary period. During that time. Yes. Ayun yung post-EDSA revolution. Siguro nagtataka kayo, no? Especially the 21st century learners nowadays. Siguro hindi nila naabutan yung EDSA revolution. So at this time, ito na yung post-EDSA revolution wherein the people power, yung tinatawag ng lakas ng bayan, prevail. Nandyan na yun, no? Nagkaroon na ng people power. So the new Filipino songs, ayan, Filipino songs and newspaper speeches and even the television programs. Well, so that's it. So I hope you guys, you'll be inspired and ayan, so bago tayo matapos, alam ko bitin na bitin kayo sa ating hapon, ating pinag-usapan about this 21st century history of the Philippines. Hindi man natin matapos. Okay, so I'll just stand by and we will update you with the next session, no? I-review natin tayo para mas matutunan pa natin ano mga bagay-bagay na hindi natin na pag-aralan. So talagang konting-konting oras na lang tayo. Okay, next ma'am. Next slide please. Ayan. Ayan. So, ayan, yung mga novelas. Okay. Dun may TV na and became more popular. Universities, presence. Yes. Next po. Ayan. So, mga workshop. Ayan, pumasok na yung mga workshop during this time. And next po. Yan, na-immerse na tayo sa different petas, dulang asilaw. Yan. Okay, illustrated novels. Ito na yung pumapasok na yung mga, okay. So, well, we're gonna have the quick assessment next meeting, siguro. Kasi we don't have time anymore. Parang oras na. Okay, alam ko bitin na bitin kayo, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay. I think we need to have the last slide na. Ma'am? Okay. Ayan. So, bagong lahat, so I would like to share with you this para bang ano no, quote of inspiration na we really cannot move on not looking back to our past. Diba? Parang because of the past that we are now looking and moving forward at this time. Ayan. And of course, shout out to all the viewers, teachers po na nandyan lahat, no? Mga viewers natin from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Ayan, thank you so much for joining us. And good day, everyone. Once more, I am your tutor, Tutor Joyce. And with me, sana po, next meeting is Tutor Floy. And at your service saying, soar high, explore, and have fun learning the 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world. Bye! Thank you po!
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETUlay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag ETUlay Level Up. Huwag aalis ha, dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan. Dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETUlay!